Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you're enjoying this beautiful day or that you've got a beautiful sunshine where you are. We do here in Toronto today. Welcome to Supporting with Access to Benefits. My name is Jenny Bolton, and I'm the manager of the Community Learning and Engagement team at Prosper Canada. And I'm here with my colleague, Ina Tuka, and we're here today to provide some support for your learning experience. So she's here and will address anything that you put into the chat that you're having difficulty with. Whereas I'll be facilitating today, and I'm really excited to talk to you about how you can help Canadians living on a low income access benefits and practice using the Benefits Wayfinder together. So we're really excited. We always have a wonderfully large group, and so it's great to know that so many of you are interested in helping people to access the benefits that they're entitled to. So before we move on, just making sure that everyone can hear us okay and see the screen. Again, please continue to use the chat to let us know if there's any issues. Please note this session is going to be recorded and might be shared on our website. We usually post our webinars on our Learning Hub. So if you prefer not to have your image or name captured, please keep your camera off during the Q&A time, and you can rename yourself to participant if you'd like. And again, only submit your questions via the chat. Okay, we will also provide a copy of the handouts from this session, as well as a Benefits Wayfinder guide that you can use as a reference. So let's get started. For those of you who are not familiar with Prosper Canada, we'll give you a little bit of an overview. Prosper Canada is a national charity, and we've been working for over 30 years championing financial empowerment supports and services. We work with governments, we work with community agencies, financial institutions, and other partners to improve access to financial supports, benefits, and services that help people build financial stability and long-term resilience. So Prosper Canada advances financial empowerment through research. We do policy development, system change initiatives, and one of my favorite things to do is to develop practical tools and programs that help individuals access benefits, file taxes, reduce their debt, build savings, and strengthen their financial confidence. We do a lot of support for frontline service providers and municipalities, and we help them to integrate financial empowerment approaches into existing community and social services. So we've been doing it for quite a while, and we love the work that we do. I would like to begin today with a land acknowledgement. And while I do this, I really encourage you to share your own acknowledgements in the chat if you're joining us from other areas across Canada. So we're going to begin by acknowledging that we are joining you from Toronto, which is situated upon traditional territories. The territories include the Wendat, the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Métis Nation. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, the Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. So today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. So again, we encourage you to make your own acknowledgements as well. All right, so let's get to know each other better. It's always great to know who's in the room. We always have so many people join us, and I just love to get a sense of who's here. So please write in the chat your name and where you're from in Canada. And then we're going to do the Mentimeter today in just a moment and learn a little bit more about you in terms of the people that you serve in your communities. So let's see, we're seeing people from Prince Edward Island, from Ottawa, Peterborough, flashing quickly here, London, Edmonton, Newfoundland. Oh, I love Newfoundland. Calgary, yeah, that's beautiful out there too. Let me see, some more from Vancouver, all across Canada, Manitoba, Nova Scotia. Oh, fantastic. Some, of course, from the Toronto area, Saskatchewan, great. Quebec, Montreal, wonderful. Fantastic. Good. Well, welcome to everyone. All right. And next I'm going to get you, I think some of you are already starting to use it. I can see a few answers coming in. We're going to be using Mentimeter today. And there are, excuse me, are three ways that you can engage with Mentimeter. The first one is using the link that we're going to provide for you in the chat. You also see the QR code on the screen right now. So you can use your phone to connect to that. You can also log into menti.com and use the code that you see on the slide, which is 76922778. And if none of these work, please just share your answer in the chat. Okay, so we're just getting a sense of who you support. That's also really interesting to see who we're supporting in our communities. And feel free, of course, to answer more than one. So I'm seeing a lot of people supporting people. I'm going to share my screen now, actually, just a moment, so you can see what I see. Can everyone see my screen, hopefully? Okay. So this is what I'm seeing. These are your responses. So lots of people with families and children, people with disabilities, those that are unemployed, newcomers to Canada, Indigenous, seniors, racialized communities. So a really good cross-section. If you've selected other, feel free to add that to the chat so we get a sense of who that might be representing. All right, fantastic, wonderful to see. Great to see all of the diversity that we're supporting. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, go back to our presentation. Okay, so what are we going to do today? Well, the purpose of the day today is to learn and practice the skills to support Canadians living on a low income to access benefits. And what this starts with is an understanding of your role in providing support. It also includes important skills like knowing how to start the conversation about benefits, and that can be really challenging. So we're going to review some of the tips for using the Benefits Wayfinder. Some of you may have already explored it before. For some of you, it might be new. And we're going to give you some time to actually explore the tool using some personas. I'm going to give you a live demonstration of it today. And we're also going to give you a short overview of the Disability Benefits Compass, which is linked to the Benefits Wayfinder and can also be accessed as a standalone tool. And then finally, we're going to provide you with some additional resources and some other training that's available to you. And all of these topics with more details on financial literacy, financial conversations, and how to use the Benefits Wayfinder are actually available through one of our e-learning courses. It's called Foundations of Access to Benefits. And if you've not taken this training and you're interested, we can provide you with some more information on this, along with some of the other resources at the end of the workshop. So we have 1.5 hours together, so settle in and let's get started. And again, just if you have any questions before we get started, please just put them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. All right. So here's what you can expect from today. We're going to be using a variety of different learning formats. We want to give you a chance to engage with the content. And some of the activities are going to be done together in our large group, or we're going to send you off as individuals to explore the Benefits Wayfinder. And we'll also talk together a little bit about how you can integrate the Benefits Wayfinder into money conversations. I want to give you some opportunities to reflect on your own personal experiences with money as well. So think about that as we go through the conversations today. The personas, the discussions, and the practice activities really come to life when we're able to incorporate our own personal experiences. So I really encourage you to do this. But because of this, we want to really make sure that the session is safe, inclusive, and fun. So please really treat our time together with respect. And again, I'm always going to say this, if you have any questions, just add it to the chat. Okay, so one really important thing to talk about before we move on. Let's approach the content in today's workshop, knowing that the experiences, our values, and our emotions around money differ widely from person to person. Money, as you probably already know, can be a very sensitive topic. So remember this as we're working together today, and also think about that when we work with individuals in our community and our conversations with friends and family as well. So we're going to start today by exploring your role in helping the individuals that you work with or support with accessing the benefits that they are entitled to, but potentially not yet receiving. All right. So let's start with why this matters. Why is it so important to have access to benefit support? I want you to take a moment to think about why access to benefits matters in your own lives, for example. What impact do benefits have? Maybe you have a child with a disability. You know that benefits matter. Or if you are maybe caring for an aging parent, or you're saving for your child's education, or having difficulty paying your bills, you know that benefits matter, right? They make a really big difference in our total household income. Now, think about someone living on a very low income. What impact can benefits have on an individual or family living in a low income? And it's not just, the impact of money, but what does that extra money, if we can provide them with extra money, what impact can that have? So in a minute, I'm going to take us back to our Mentimeter and we're going to do a word cloud together. And I want you to think about that. So, all right, there's our word cloud. So what impact does access to benefits have on people? So if we bring more benefits into the household, what is that going to do on the lives of those individuals? Yeah, look at that word, empowerment. Fantastic. Fantastic. Safety, for sure. Quality of life. Freedom to choose. Yes, these are great. You know what I'm talking about. Stability, autonomy, security, all of these things. Hope, love that. Stability, yeah. Some of these words are getting bigger, which means multiple people are putting those in. Peace, I like that one too. Independence, agency, comfort, dignity. Wow, that one's powerful, right? Basic needs. Keep them coming. These are great. Wellness. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. These are great. And hopefully it kind of inspires us as well to kind of do this work, thinking about the impact that it's having. Oh, I see another good one there, education and relief. Wonderful opportunities. Beautiful. Well, thank you. We'll capture this and share it back with everybody when we send out all of the materials. I'm going to come back to our presentation. So let's highlight some of the most important aspects of access to benefits. So just kind of a little bit of a summary as well. Individuals who receive benefit navigation support are more likely to be able to access all the benefits that they're eligible for. So if we can increase an individual's access to benefits, then you're going to play a really key role in helping them to increase their income. And then, of course, receiving benefits can improve an individual's financial well-being and empower them to take control of their financial situation. So we saw a lot of those words in our word cloud, right? That empowerment, the ability to make choices. And of course, increased benefits can also improve their overall quality of life. We saw lots of words around that, right? Their security, their safety, their independence. All right. So this is because the stresses of living in poverty, as you may know from the work that you do, can have an impact on all areas of people's lives. So thanks, everybody. Thank you for contributing all those great words. All right. So how can people support individuals to access benefits? That's why we're all here. That's what we want to learn today. So access to benefits is a really vital part of poverty reduction. So by integrating access to benefits into existing programs, so if we can integrate it into things like social assistance, employment, housing, healthcare, and settlement, then the outcomes of these programs can be improved. So there are three elements to supporting individuals with accessing benefits. And the first one is to identify an individual's eligibility for benefits. So many people who are living on a low income, they're not even aware that there are benefits that they could be receiving. Others might know about the benefits, but they don't believe that they're eligible. So they think, oh, probably not going to work for me. To identify eligibility, you can ask if an individual has heard about certain benefits, or you can use the benefits Wayfinder to identify potential benefits that they're eligible for. The second step to supporting individuals is to guide them through the application. So although the process must be led by the individual, you can help support the application by doing things like making an action plan with them, creating to-do lists for their application, maybe just keeping them on track with check-in meetings or emails, or helping with practical needs, maybe again, helping them to complete the application, navigating some of the online tools if they have low digital literacy. Even printing or mailing benefit applications can be really helpful. And lastly, you can support an individual to access benefits by referring them to additional support as required. So remember, you're not required to have all the answers, right? We don't always have all the answers, but knowing where to refer them can be really helpful. So it's totally okay and really important to refer them to individuals, to other resources as well, if the needs go beyond your comfort level or knowledge. So in these cases, it's really important to have a list of trustworthy organizations and resources to refer to. And we actually have some of these on the Benefits Wayfinder that I'll show you in a little while. So in this webinar, we're going to focus on that first element, okay? Determining a participant's eligibility and getting them started on the benefits application journey. And again, any questions as we're going along, please just put them in the chat. All right, let's get into how we start the conversation about benefits. All right, so first of all, I want to recognize that there are many barriers facing the communities and people that we work with and support. So many people living on a low income have also experienced some kind of financial or other trauma, and this can lead to a lot of other barriers to accessing benefits, information, and support. So a trauma-informed approach recognizes that the impact of trauma can have on the individual, and it aims to empower them by creating conditions of emotional and personal safety. So let's take a trauma-informed approach and just take a look at the 5 principles. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with this, so it's a bit of a review, but it's just important to kind of to set the container and to think about that as we move forward. So first of all, it's really important to create a physically and emotionally safe environment. And one way that you can do this is to make sure that you're holding conversations in a private area. The second principle is to support autonomy and choice. So for example, ensuring that the individual knows that they're in control of all of their decisions in the benefits process. The third principle is to create collaborative relationships. And so the individual should have a significant role in how the process unfolds. For example, the individual chooses how and when to search and apply for benefits, while you can provide the tools and support their actions. Next, you want to establish trust and boundaries, right? And one way that you can do this is just reassure the individual that their information will be kept confidential. Another way is just to remind them that they can stop the meeting or the benefits application process at any time if they choose. And then finally, it's really important to use a strength and empowerment focused approach, right? So really acknowledging and validating the participants' feelings, their experiences, their values, and their decision is really key. Okay, so just a little review of that so that we can move forward and think about that as we learn about how to have these conversations. So the first step to that conversation is determining whether an individual would be beneficial for them to have that benefits conversation, right? Is it going to help them or not? And we have 3 screening questions that we use. And the first one is, have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? The second one is, have you recently experienced or are you coming up to a big life change? So this might be something like having a child, changing or retiring from your job. So just something different and significant that could impact your income. And third, how comfortable do you feel with your current financial situation? A person's responses to these screening questions can indicate whether using the Benefits Wayfinder is going to be useful for them. Is it going to be worthwhile? So for example, in question 1, if they've not filed their taxes, there may be benefits that they're missing out on and they might not even know about. Question 2, if they have or are coming up to a big life change, so like we said, having a baby or retiring, there might be some benefits that they're eligible for and they need to start to think about. And finally, question 3, if you discover that they feel that they don't have enough money to make ends meet, there may be benefits that they may qualify for. Again, those are difficult conversations to have sometimes, but again, keeping that trauma-informed approach is going to be really important. On the other hand, if the person has filed their taxes, they're not experiencing a life change, and they feel quite stable financially, it's much less likely that they're going to find helpful benefits while using this tool. But it doesn't mean it's not worthwhile. In this case, you could just offer a benefits checkup to make sure that they're receiving everything they can. Okay, or they might have something in the future that they're going to be considering, so it can help them to explore. So let's talk about how we can use these screening questions in different kinds of conversations. Okay, so we have 3 scenarios. So now every situation and every individual, of course, is unique, but there are 3 common conversation pathways that we can use to introduce and discuss access to benefits. So if you're working frontline, the first usually takes place on the job. So you might be in a public situation and you're having a discussion with a community member who is seeking support because they're in a financially vulnerable situation. So let's think about this. Maybe you're at a food bank and you're doing some screening questions, providing formula to a new mom, or you're providing employment and training supports to a newcomer. So you're in conversation with someone at a drop-in center or, again, in a public type of place. The person did not come prepared for a financial conversation, right? Or it could be simply a conversation you're having at a coffee shop with a friend or family member who's struggling. So some of these things that we're learning today can apply in our work as well as our personal lives. The second conversation pathway takes place during a private one-on-one scheduled money conversation. So the person's there to talk about money. Sometimes that makes it a little easier, right? And the third conversation pathway takes place in a related field. So for example, maybe you're in healthcare and you're speaking to somebody who's seeking medical support, or you're talking to someone who's incarcerated, or maybe you're providing housing services. You're in a one-on-one private meeting, but again, the person did not come for the purpose of discussing money. So again, I'd love to sort of see where you're all coming from. What pathway do you think you would be using the most? So I want to do another quick Mentimeter poll and just see what pathway you would most likely find yourself in when interacting with community members. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'd love to see your input. So let's see where you guys are working and where you think you might have these conversations. And again, yes, of course, if the Mentimeter is not working for you, please feel free to add them to the chat. We'll see them there as well. I see Erin has said public and on the job. Thank you. Okay, so a lot of you are in one-on-one money conversations. Interesting. Really interesting. Okay. But we've still got quite a few in the public or related fields. Wonderful. Great. All right, that gives us a good sense of or all 3 for some people I'm seeing. Yeah, okay, that's good to know as well. I guess it could vary depending on what you're doing at the time. Okay, good. We're getting a few more responses. Thank you. Yeah, so some people are sharing in the chat that it's more than one pathway, so good to know. So you'll have to just adjust your approach accordingly, I guess. Good. Okay, well, let's talk about these different pathways. Okay, so pathway 1. You are in a public place, so you need to be sensitive, right? We need to respect the person's privacy. And you're going to want to ask closed questions and leave those more detailed discussions to when you're having a one-on-one meeting. So you might want to open the conversation with things like, we could explore benefits that you might be interested and eligible for. Would you be interested in doing that with me? Right? So just, again, you're going to put these things in your own words, right? And if willing, okay, then you can ask some of those screening questions. Do you remember what they are? They are, have you filed your taxes for the past 5 years? Have you recently experienced, or are you coming up to a big life change? And how comfortable do you feel with your current financial situation? Okay. If appropriate, you can ask if they would be interested in exploring benefits. And if willing, you might want to set up a more private one-on-one meeting. Okay. Great. I see a comment here. So in Quebec, this is from Annalise, our biggest challenge as an English language service organization is dealing with benefits is extremely difficult for our clients to navigate. For the other provinces on the call, I would love to know your experiences. Oh, so feel free as you're listening today to comment there. Thank you. Nice to see some engagement. All right, pathway 2. Because you're already talking finances, you're already in a one-on-one private meeting. So you can ask the screening questions as part of the broader financial conversation. Okay. You can consider more open-ended questions about improving their financial situation or increasing income. Okay. And if the participant identifies a need for increased income, you can ask if they're interested in checking for benefits. And then finally, you can proceed based on the participant's interests. So as from our Mentimeter, we see that the majority of you are in those kinds of situations in pathway 2. So those are the kinds of approaches that you can take. Now let's take a look at the third pathway. So you're working in a related field. You may be in settlement or healthcare, but you're in a one-on-one meeting, so it's already nice and private. So you can ask an open-ended question to identify the individual stressors. Okay. You can see if there's a need for increased income and share that there might be benefits that can help. And then again, if interested, you can ask those screening questions. Okay. And if the person identifies that they're interested, then of course you could set up a dedicated meeting and explore things further. So you can see they all have a sort of a similar pattern. You're just tailoring it slightly depending on the situation that you're in, right? Making sure we're being trauma informed, making sure that we're respecting people's privacy. Okay. So just overall, just a quick review and some tips for all of the pathways, right? It's really important that you set realistic expectations. So you want to avoid saying things like, you will probably be eligible for, right? We don't want to raise people's expectations, but we do just want to, give them the opportunity to explore. To be productive, make sure that the process is led by the individual, right? So you should only start the conversation about access to benefits if the individual indicates that they're interested, right? So again, making sure that they get to direct the action and you can be there to support. So your roles to support, you should never directly advise, right? We're not experts on this, and we never want to pressure an individual to consider benefits, right? So we're going to take the lead of our clients and what they're comfortable with. Okay. Again, keep up any questions and feel free to add some things in the chat. All right. So for those of you who have maybe taken our online course before, or maybe you've participated in a Benefits Wayfinder demo, you might already be familiar with the tool. You might have explored it before, but we're still going to take just a little bit of time now to demonstrate the different ways that you can use it in money conversations, just giving you a general overview of all of the different features of the tool. If you're looking for further detail on it, we do have previously recorded webinars that go into greater detail of it, or if it's something that you're interested in having for a large group, a lot of your staff, you can reach out to us as we do demos for organizations as well. All right. The Benefits Wayfinder, let me give you a little overview before we jump into our demo. The overview is that it's a tool that's been created to help individuals identify and apply for the benefits that they're eligible for. And how it works is it provides a list of personalized benefits that an individual may be eligible for based on their circumstances. So they can use they can use a questionnaire, which I'm going to share with you in a moment, but they'll be able to view particular benefits and their eligibility and the ID requirements, as well as the application process. And then they can organize all of that on a dashboard. And just reminding you that the people who are most likely to discover new benefits on the Benefits Wayfinder are those living on a low income, newcomers to Canada, those approaching or experiencing a major life event, those who have never filed their taxes before or in a while, and those who are not receiving common starting benefits already. Okay, so those are the ones who will probably find the most benefit from this. Okay, another couple things. Again, I'm going to show you a walkthrough of some of the features. And in a moment, you'll also have the chance to navigate on your own. So after the demonstration, we're going to give you that opportunity. There's also a video about the Benefits Wayfinder and how you can navigate it, and it's available. We'll share that with you at the end in our shared resources, and you can use that as a reference later if you want to refer back to. And again, please ask any questions as we go through. There's one thing I want you to note, though. I'm not a benefit expert, so I can help you with the navigation on the tool, but I may not be able to answer all of your benefits questions. Having said that, sometimes people put their benefits questions into the chat, and depending on who's in our audience today, sometimes we've seen some great conversations happen where people are helping and giving tips on different benefit things. Similarly, if you leave a question in the chat, we can sometimes circle back and try to find that answer for you, as we do have people who have greater levels of benefit experience within our network. So as you can see, this is the home page of the Benefits Wayfinder. Okay, and you can see at the top, I'm going to point with my mouse here, that there are several ways to access the information. Okay, we have what's called starting points, we have a questionnaire, and we have browse all benefits. I'm going to start with the questionnaire. We're going to focus on that a little bit today. And again, later you're going to have a chance to go through the questionnaire using a persona. So I'm going to begin with the questionnaire. Our questionnaire has 13 questions, okay? And you can go through these with a client, or they can do it on their own, of course. You could give this link to them and they can work through it on their own. But before I complete it with you, I just want you to know a few important things, okay? The information that somebody inputs onto the Benefits Wayfinder is not stored, okay? Often people are definitely not comfortable sharing personal information online. I'm sure you find that with people that you work with in your community. So if that's the case, you can use a different means of exploring. So if they're really not comfortable with the questionnaire, then you can use the starting points, which again, I'll show you in just a moment. If if they don't feel comfortable with that, the other way is browsing benefits. It's not quite as effective. You kind of have to know the benefits you're looking for. But again, I'll go through all of those things with you today. You don't have to answer every question in the questionnaire as well. There is the ability to skip it, different questions, but just know that the more questions they answer, the more specific benefit recommendations that they'll receive. So as you answer more questions, benefits are not going to be removed from your dashboard, only added, okay? You can move back and forth within the questionnaire. So if you make an error, know that you can go back and you can change your answer before submitting. And it's going to ask you to review everything before you submit as well, okay? If you're completing a questionnaire for a client, okay, so if you're completing it and then they say to you that they are approaching one of those life changes, be sure to enter the information as if they're already experiencing it, okay? So it's going to give you the most accurate suggestions that way. Let me give you an example. If you're working with somebody who you know is expecting a child, you want to answer the questions as if that child is already born, okay? If someone's approaching retirement, same thing. You want to enter the income that they'll have once they've retired. Okay, so let's do the questionnaire together and then maybe it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, so I click on it. Again, you can see, I'll scroll slowly here. The first question, which kind of relates to what we talked about, is that it's most effective for somebody who hasn't filed their taxes. So we're going to answer no. Are you up to date on filing your taxes? I'm going to say no. And that's going to ask me my age range. I'm going to be nice and young today. It's going to ask me what my citizenship or immigration status is. All right, I'm going to, shall we be today? I try to mix it up. All right, I'm going to be government assisted refugee. Are we working? I'm going to say employed part-time. And I won't know what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. How much money does everyone in your household together make in 1 year? How many people live in your home? I'm just going to say I'm on my own. Do I care for any children under 18 years of age? I'm going to answer no today. I'm going to say that I am renting. So it's asking what kind of housing situation I have. whether I'm pregnant or expecting a child. So you can see, right, they're kind of thinking about the different situations that you might have. I'm going to answer no. Length of stay in Canada, say 1 to 4 years. Are you or your parent or your spouse a Canadian veteran? I'm going to say no. Do you have a parent or spouse who had lived in Canada and passed away? I'm going to answer no. And there we go. I'm going to now have an opportunity to just take a look at all of my answers before submitting. I can edit them if I need to. Okay. And once I scroll down, I don't want to make you dizzy. I don't do it too quickly. And then I'm going to submit. Let's see what happens. All right. So we have found 13 benefits. This is the dashboard that it's taking me to. And in a moment, I'm just going to share with you all the different aspects of our dashboard. So let's go take a look. All right. So these are the recommended benefits, and they're a good starting point, but you still want to go through these recommendations to determine if you actually are fully eligible. And there's some sublists on the dashboard where that you can view the benefits that you've marked as seen, or maybe ones that you're already receiving. Okay, so there's different ways of filtering things. So let's take a look here and I'll show you. Here we go. So here, for example, I can say add to benefits I'm already receiving. I can remove one if it's something I'm not interested in. I can select what priority this is for me. There's where I can mark it as seen if I've already reviewed it. So there's lots of ways that you can filter your dashboard. Okay. A couple of other things, you can sort them in different ways by priority, alphabetically, whether or not tax filing is required or not, whether you need to file your taxes and apply separately. So you see all of these different ways of kind of playing around with the dashboard. Okay. When you prioritize the benefits you're interested in, they're going to appear in that order. So let's do alphabetical today. Well, they probably already are alphabetical. Let's do, we'll create our priority list a little bit later. All right, so let's take a look. A couple of other things that it shows you. I can actually go into one of the benefits, so the Canada's Workers benefit here, and you'll see that it always has the link to the actual government website, okay? And you can do a couple things. You can click on those, and you can also learn about eligibility. Okay, so if I click on here, I can learn whether or not I'm actually eligible for this benefit. I can figure out what identification and documents are required, and then I can go in and learn how to apply. So we've tried to make sure that the language is nice plain language. One thing I know that a lot of people find helpful is that the information then is quite consistent. So if you're actually navigating benefits searches on, say, government websites, so you've got your provincial websites, your federal websites, it can start to look a lot different on every site. Here we've kind of created a very similar structure, nice plain language, so it can kind of make it really easier for people to navigate. All right. A couple of things that you can do when you're working with someone. Let's go back to the full dashboard. All right, so we can save the session, okay? And you can send that to people. So if you're helping somebody and you want to send it to them, you can just put in their email address. In fact, you can put in multiple email addresses just by adding a comma in between. And again, if a person has low digital literacy, you can share it by email, or you can print it out. Okay, so you can create a PDF and you can also print that document for them instead. Okay. But remember, we talked about privacy and making sure people know that we don't save the information. You can clear this after every session, and nothing is saved, but it'll clear that dashboard. Okay. All right. The other thing I'd like to show you is a couple of the other help pages and agency portals as well. But I think for the time being, maybe what we'll do is go take a look. Well, no, maybe I'll show you. I'm going to show you the starting points as well before I get you into doing your personas. So that's our questionnaire. But now I want to take a look at starting points. Okay, so for starting points, there's different filters as well. Okay, so they can be used to narrow down results for those with specific or immediate needs. So remember, I also mentioned that this is a great way if somebody's not comfortable with the questionnaire to just help filter it for them based on their life situation. So you might ask a person if they're part of a specific group or if one of these specific starting points resonates with them. So are they a senior? Are they a newcomer to Canada? So maybe they're looking for housing support, for example. The other thing I wanted to note, you can see right now that I'm in Ontario. I can go up here at the very top right corner and I can select a different province. So if I want to go, I'm now in Newfoundland. I got to refresh it. Oh, it's not doing it for me today. Well, I'll have to check on that. I'll go back to Ontario for now, but it should refresh it for you. Or probably, I mean, it works better when I first select it. When you actually open the tool at the very beginning, you'll be asked what province you're in. So again, back to our starting points. Maybe I'm looking for disability support. Okay, so it's going to list all of the different benefits related to disabilities. Okay, so again, a participant might be part of numerous special groups, so you may have to explore several of them. And they might realize that there's some benefits that they're eligible for, and that's a pretty exciting thing, right? Because we can find them some additional support, we can make a real impact in their life. Okay. The other thing is there are some benefits here if they're related to filing your taxes. It gives you some information on that. Okay, and also, if you're already receiving benefits, it's just showing you how one benefit might lead to another. So if somebody's already receiving ODSP and you're already receiving that, then it could unlock other benefits, right? So lots of ways to have conversations with people, all right? The third way to access benefits, and I'll just very quickly show you this one, is browsing. Okay, you can just simply browse. Maybe you know the name of the benefit and you can just simply search it. Okay, if you know what you're looking for. You can also do some filtering on the left-hand side here. So here's where I can select different provinces. Do I want federal benefits or not? You can also filter by easy or difficult application, right? Some we know, some benefits are very difficult to apply for. So if you're not interested in that lengthy process, just select all the easier ones. Whether or not tax filing is required, right? And again, all kinds of different tags that you can search for. So there's lots of functionality here, and I really encourage you to explore it. It does take a little bit of playing around with things. So today we'll have a little bit of time to do that, but I'm sure you'll have to take a bit more time. One other thing I should add is that a lot of people. A lot of organizations actually use this tool as a way of training. They're working in this field where you're going to be supporting people and you just want to learn about all the different benefits, especially the most common ones, and the tools are a great way to do that. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back to the presentation and I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to put you guys to work. So that was a very quick demo of the tool. It's time to practice. In a minute, I'm going to give you a persona, but I want to say to you, please feel free to create your own persona, all right? Maybe there's a particular group that you work with that you want to use and kind of reflect as you use the Benefits Wayfinder, just the types of people that you're supporting in your community. So feel free to do it your own way, but I'll also provide you with a persona that you can follow along with. So we're going to review this persona together before we get started. And then what we're going to do is send you on your way. We'll give you a little bit of time. We'll probably give you about 5 minutes or so. And we'll give you the link to the Benefits Wayfinder. I think that's actually already been shared in the chat. And then you can see what kinds of benefits you can find for our persona. So our persona is Sergio. Sergio is 33 years old. He is a newcomer to Canada. He's a temporary resident. He lives in Fergus, Ontario, where he's renting. His income level is $40,000 per year. He works full-time as a chef, and he has not filed Canadian taxes before. So you can use this information and answer the questions in the questionnaire to see what benefits are recommended for Sergio. Now, I know you're going to ask, wait a minute, that doesn't answer all of those questionnaire questions. I'm going to give you the liberty to kind of create your own. So some of those questions you can just respond to in whichever way you like. Again, it might be reflective of the types of clients that you serve in your community. So just giving you a little bit of an overview of Sergio. Feel free to take some creative liberty as you use the benefits Wayfinder to find the benefits for Sergio. And then what we're going to do, keep track of some of those benefits, because then we're going to come back, use that Mentimeter, and see what you found. Okay. So here we go. Just give you a couple more instructions here on your own. I want you to search for benefits for Sergio. Use the benefits Wayfinder questionnaire. We're going to try the starting points later, but I want you to use the questionnaire. And so you'll see, you can see at the slide there, the questionnaire is circled. All right, that's where you want to go. Open your browser, get ready to use the tool. We'll put that other slide back up again so that you can see the details about Sergio. And let's give you about 5 minutes. I'm going to turn my camera off, give you a little bit of time. What have we got? It's 1:52. All right, we'll come back. When you see me come back, you can join us, and then we'll put our Mentimeter on and we'll share your findings. All right, have fun, everybody. Let me put that slide back for you. Let's see what you find out. Have fun. Hello, everyone. Keep playing around with the benefits Wayfinder. We'll just slowly start to make our way back. I don't know if you need more time. Please let me know. But I do see some people already responding in the Mentimeter. So feel free to share the benefits that you have found for Sergio. And again, they might differ. So you might see one up there that, and I'll share that screen in just a moment. You might see one up there that you didn't find, and that could be because you've answered some of the questionnaire questions a little bit differently. So let me put that screen up, and while you're searching, people can start to share what they're finding. I'll give people a few minutes to complete the activity. The Green Shield Essential Medicines Program. We just had a presentation on that recently at one of our community of practices, so it was quite interesting to learn about that. The dental plan, great. Legal aid, low income. And again, as I mentioned, as we were going through the questionnaire, if you're doing this with an individual, you still have to dig in a little bit deeper with them. So you might identify one of them, and then you want to kind of link in and explore those details to make sure that they are truly eligible. But it certainly narrows it down. It certainly opens up a lot of options for them to explore. Oh, I'm seeing some in the chat as well. Affordable food. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, again, feel free to share in the chat as well. Sales tax credits, CDCP. Oh, Julie, thank you. I'm glad you're seeing the capability of the tool as being positive. That's great. WSIB. Oh, I think I can scroll down and we might see some more. There we go. Oh, a whole list of them there. Amazing. GST. Great. These are good. So I think you're getting the idea. It really is. It's just opening it up, helping them to identify it versus just kind of randomly searching somewhere. And then it's the ability to, as I say, dig a little bit deeper. All right. Wonderful. I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the presentation once again. Next, we're going to use the starting points. All right. So I showed you the starting points. It's just broken down into different categories. So things like looking for housing or looking for disability supports. And we're going to see what we can find for Rabia. So I'm going to review the the persona, I should say, before we get started. So in this case, Rabia is 19. I put her as a citizen in anywhere town. So I want you to maybe select the community that you live in or a community that you serve. Pick your own province. And I want you to think about her having a low income of about 23,000, working part-time as a server. And in terms of her tax filing history, she's only been eligible for 1 year, but did not file last year. And again, you got to fill in the blanks. So fill in the blanks if you want. If you want to search other things as well about Rabia, feel free to. You might want to consider looking at things, whether she has a disability. Maybe it's not something that's easy to identify, right? Many people have mental health disabilities, different things. So again, it's just an opportunity. Really, this is about you having a chance to explore the tool and trying to think about it from the angle of the type of person that you might be working with. And again, feel free to just look at it from the types of clients that you serve. So if this persona doesn't fit, you can create your own. Okay. So again, similar thing. I want you to just practice these skills. And I'm going to give you probably just a few minutes, give me another 5 minutes or so just to explore. I'm hoping that's enough time. And then we'll come back. So let's come back at 2:06. We'll go have fun. See what we can find. Again, we'll have the Mentimeter up so you can start to add some of the things that you find for Rabia. Have fun. And I can see the answers flowing in. So that's telling me that you're finding lots of things for Rabia, which is amazing. Good stuff. And again, you might have been just playing around, giving her an extended identity, and that's just fine. This is all just about you getting comfortable with the tool. And I'm seeing from the chat that people are finding it easy to use, which makes me happy. It really is quite user-friendly. We're always looking for ways to improve it. We're always getting it up to date. Something I did, excuse me, I didn't mention is that every 6 months it does get updated. So we try to keep everything really current. Excuse me. So what are we finding for Rabia? So I've got a tickle. So she's eligible for LEAP, the dental plan, Canada Workers Benefit, Rent Assist, CDCP, lots of great things. OW, Ontario Drug Benefit, WSIB. So great, you're finding lots of things. Wonderful. All right, to now take a look at the Disability Benefits Compass. So the Disability Benefits Compass is linked to the Benefits Wayfinder, so you can access it through that, but it is also a standalone tool. Let me tell you a little bit about it. So it was created because we've recognized, of course, that disability benefits are much more complex. So we created this tool in partnership with Planning Institute, Disability Alliance BC, and the SRDC to help improve the navigation of key disability benefits. Okay, so essentially what we do is we take a little deeper dive into these benefits with more tips and suggestions for how to apply. It has plain language, so it was designed by people living with a disability and support staff. And within each step, there are tips, examples, frequently asked questions, resources, and challenges that you might encounter and who to contact for help. You can also find out what to expect after you apply and the next steps to take if your application is approved or denied. I'm sure some of you know, often many are denied the first time when they apply to things like the DTC, the Disability Tax Credit. I love this tool because it kind of dives into that, gives you tips and things to do to reapply, for example. So it's got lots of great information from people who have worked in this field for many, many years. It's got the 3 main federal benefits. So it's going to talk about the Disability Tax Credit Certificate, the Canada Pension Plan Disability Benefit, and the Registered Disability Savings Plan. Plus, it will give you the 1 provincial and territory disability benefits, assistance benefit. Okay. Now, this tool can be used by caregivers, family members, volunteers, and organizations who provide access to benefit support. So just a really great resource. I know I've used it for family members. I find it really helpful. So I'm going to give you a really short overview of the Disability Benefits Compass. I'm not going to go quite as in depth as I did with the Benefits Wayfinder, but again, I encourage you to do that on your own time. So now with this screen, this is a good example. You can see that I can choose different provinces. All right, so I can select Manitoba. The other thing to note, some of the great things, right? We have different modes for accessibility. I should have mentioned that, of course, both of these tools are in English and French. Okay. So those are all really key things as well. So this is the home page. We've entered our province. One of the things that you can do is select View Key Benefits. So if you want to see the three main disability benefits, as well as the one for the province, so as you can see, there's the three federal ones and there's the provincial one, as I selected Manitoba. Okay. You can also select, I go back up here, just help with getting started. It'll give you a little bit of an overview of how to use this tool. At the bottom of this, I'll go right to the bottom, there is a glossary, all kinds of different resources. There's our glossary, and sometimes the definitions when we're working with disability, might be something that you want to learn a little bit more about. We've got lots of different resources, so information sheets, checklists. Let me click on that. So just different resources and organizations that can actually help you with your application process. So Plan Institute, Disability Alliance Canada, for example. There's the glossary. I should have shown you that. So a very extensive glossary on all of the different words, right? When we get into some of this, the terminology can be challenging. We have, again, organizations that you can reach out to in your region for different things. Okay, Manitoba Possible, Seed Winnipeg. If your organization works in this field and is not on this list and wants to be, please reach out and let us know that you offer these services. Okay, let's go back up. I'll show you some of the other resources on our key page. We have a video that you can watch. It has ASL, right, and it's captioned as well. All right, and we have a help section. I think I've shown you that already. Let's go back to our disability benefits. And similarly to the benefits Wayfinder, once you actually click on the benefit, then you get more details. So for example, if they all follow a certain pattern here, which is an introduction, talks to you a little bit about the benefit, the people who are eligible, okay? What if you're Indigenous? How does that look? If you're approved, what happens? I don't know this one as well to navigate because it's the Manitoba one. There we go, your eligibility, okay? Age requirements, financial requirements, we break it all down, right? Try to make it really easy to navigate. How you're actually going to apply, okay? Again, it's going to depend on people's situation. They break it all down into steps. They move you through those steps in a really easy to navigate way, okay? I'm going to go back. Oh, all right, sorry, I should have gone forward actually. So how to apply and then after you apply, I want to get to that. There we go. What happens after when your application is approved? Okay, it takes you through all of that. And of course, some frequently asked questions. These are really helpful. Again, these have all been curated from best practices from all of the different organizations that help to create this tool. So again, lots of partner input has been put into this to make it really relevant. Okay, so that's another tool that is available to you, and we really, again, encourage you to take a look. So I'm going to stop sharing. We are getting near to the end of our presentation. I want to make sure that we have some time for questions if you have them. So for both the Benefits Wayfinder and the Disability Benefits Compass, there are several ways that you can use the tools with community members. As I mentioned, you can actually use it as a resource yourself, right? So maybe you just want to find out more information about specific benefits, whether it's for a client or whether it's for a family member or friend. And as I mentioned, that some organizations use it in their onboarding for staff and help them learn about the common benefits that their clients might be eligible for. The Benefits Wayfinder can be used with community members to explore benefits that might be available to them, or as I mentioned, as just a benefits checkup. So, maybe they don't, those three questions we talked about, right? Whether or not they're approaching that big life event or those kinds of things. If they kind of answer no to those, like they've been keeping up to date with their taxes, all that, it still means they could have a benefit checkup. They still could learn a little bit, right? For someone with a disability, you might want to take them right to the Disability Benefits Compass if you're helping them to navigate that application process. So both tools, of course, are a really great way just to encourage money conversations. And we talked about those pathways, remember? So it could be at a tax clinic. It could be a separate appointment after a tax clinic, or any other kind of situation that we've talked about, right? Being in a public setting, being in healthcare. So yeah, it's just, a really great way to sort of get people to start thinking about the different benefits that they might be eligible for and not receiving, and a way to provide them with some tips for that application process. I really encourage you to take a look at both tools in your free time and see what impact it can have in the work that you do. Before we wrap up and give you some time to ask some questions, I just want to tell you about some of the other resources that are available to you. I might have highlighted some of them in the demo, although I think I might take you back to a couple of them because I probably didn't show you some of the things in depth. Just a reminder, though, that these slides are going to be shared after the session, so you will have all of these links as well. So depending on an individual's needs and situation, sometimes it's in the best interest, of course, to refer a person to another organization or service that can provide more specialized support. So that might be a tax clinic, an ID clinic, or maybe another community support or advocacy organization. So it's really a great idea to build a referral network of trusted individuals and organizations who can offer this specialized support. So there are some organizations listed within the Benefits Wayfinder that can help you to build that. There's two great resources. One is the help, and the other is the agency portal. So let me see if I can click right on that agency portal and share my screen just briefly. Okay, so the agency portal can give you a list of different kinds of resources that are available. The key benefits, there's a guide to all of the key benefits. There's lots of other tools and worksheets. There's some other links to some of the other resources that we have here at Prosper Canada. If you're an organization that is just getting into benefits access, the other tool that I wanted to share with you, I won't go into detail at all, but it's called Bridge to Benefits. And that just provides information and resources to really determine what kinds of benefit access services you might be able to offer within your community. So it kind of helps you if you're just at that stage of getting started. There's lots of training here I mentioned, right? We do have some other webinars that you can take a look at. We do have a guide that we'll be sharing with you. So there is just so much information on here. We have some consumer tools, so those for those who want to share it with clients, different types of things around financial literacy as well. So lots of things. I really encourage you to take a look. A couple of other things that we have here at Prosper Canada. We've recently created a beautiful resource called Braiding Mind, Body, and Spirit, a financial wellness bundle, and that's helping individuals, Indigenous individuals who may be receiving a lump sum payment. We have it actually in English, French, Ojibwe, and Plains Cree, and they're all downloadable from our Learning Hub. There's more information on the Canada Disability Benefit. So these are all links that you'll see in the presentation when we send you the PDF of it. And there's some podcasts and things to do as well. So yeah, there's just lots of things we encourage you to keep exploring on our site. So we're almost done. And before I begin my wrap up, again, if anybody has any questions, please put them into the chat. I'll go take a look right now and see if we have any. And thank you, Ina, for putting all the great links in there for everybody. Please feel free to raise your hand now. So if you do have questions, we can unmute you and you can ask your question that way, or you can put it in the chat as well. So as we wrap up, I really just want to quickly review that as frontline workers or people supporting community members, you really have a unique opportunity to support people with access to benefits. And remember to assess the setting that you and the individual are in and consider using one of the conversation pathways to bring up the topic of benefits and look for opportunities to ask those 3 screening questions, right? And finally, the Benefits Wayfinder can be used in different ways, and they can help you identify and organize benefits that an individual may be eligible for, depending on what they're comfortable sharing or using. Right? We really want it to be trauma client driven. Okay, so we want to thank you so much for joining us today. I really hope that you enjoyed it. We really want your feedback. We're always looking for ways to improve. So Ina is going to share in the chat the link to the feedback survey, and I really, really hope that you will fill that in for us, please. Again, just to acknowledge that the Benefits Wayfinder was developed by Prosper Canada, but it was sponsored by TD Bank Group and supported by the Maple Leaf Centre for Action on Food Security. So we appreciate your time and all your contributions today, and hope that we'll see you soon. But we're going to stay on here. We've got 10 minutes, and we're going to stay on and answer any questions that you might have. And if you don't, that's okay too. But if you have them, please add them to the chat or raise your hand. Actually, I'll put on the final slide here, I've just added some contact information if you want to follow us, our newsletters and things like that, if you want to reach out and learn some more.